Olá, meus amores! Antes de tudo, gratidão por você estar presente para mais um conteúdo. Eu estou passando aqui rapidinho para lembrar de curtir agora esse vídeo, se inscrever no canal, ativar o sininho para não perder nenhum vídeo incrível que trazemos aqui para você. Combinado? Agora, apertem os cintos, entre na nave estelar e bora pra aventura!
I have a story for you. When I was 28 years old, I was a student in Egyptology. I had a work experience in Cairo, in Egypt, to work and learn for the French Institute of Oriental Archaeology. I was young and very excited, and all pathways of discoveries and adventures were just ahead of me. It was my first time in Egypt. For the first time, when I got out of the plane, I could smell this very peculiar perfume of dust that is in suspension in the air everywhere you go in this beautiful country. And especially in Cairo, where it is overpopulated and the town, very busy town and very noisy, can be at times suffocating, and the air loaded with dust. The desert dust, but also the city dust. Cars, people, buildings, and the heat, which is very high most of the year. That year, I went for the first time to the Giza Plateau when the car drove me on the motorway that approaches the area of Giza. I could see in the distance the three humongous pyramids. Something very interesting. It was a visual trick. The farther you stand from them, the bigger they look, because you can see and appreciate their height when you are very far from them. You nearly see them as they are. But when you approach, the angle of the slopes disappear with the perspective and they look smaller. These giants of stone had each personality, their own frequency that was due to the ratio of their geometries, but also there were remnants and memories of an ancient power. I visited all the monuments on this plateau and I came back 3 days in a row. My head was suffocating with excitement and joy, and it was very intoxicating to just be there. Finally. But what was strange was that it looked less as a discovery than as a pilgrimage to sources. There was something that I couldn't understand, that I hadn't been taught in my school of archaeology in France. And these things I couldn't put my finger on it. There was something that didn't belong there. something more ancient, something more mysterious, loaded with power and ancient memory, older than anything that I had been taught at the School of Archaeology. And all these archaeologists, these doctors, these researchers, they were all forbidding me to talk about this thing. You'll never get a job, you'll never get your degree. Do not talk about these questions. This will close all the doors in front of you. Everything that I could feel and sense was the real deal. It was completing the academic knowledge I had been given, that I had studied for 5 years before I stand there. The Sphinx was a place I had already been in 1991 with Thorhan. And we went under the sand, shifting frequency, as he said, because what is beneath this monument is in a higher frequency that it can never be found until the day humans of Earth raise their frequency and shift into the same higher frequency as the technology that is buried down there. We shifted frequency and went through the sand. It was in 1991, and this memory I will never forget. All the things I had been shown in there and the crystal eggs that I had tried. Mind melt with an ancient technology that may be forgotten, but in truth is still hidden. One day, I was thinking, the humans of Earth will stop arguing with each other and they will stop thinking with pessimism about their future. One day, the humans of Earth will discover that they are amazing and that love is the way to a future that is prosperous, clear, and beautiful. And that moment, they will have reached a frequency high enough that they can access this buried technology. But here I was, at the age of 28, on the Giza Plateau. My head filled with memories of ancient times, and I couldn't deny that there was something about Atlantis, something about crystal technology, and it was linked to this pyramid. The Sphinx was more ancient even, and it was linked with another more ancient technology and civilization than Atlantis. I couldn't know what was this. And the stars. There was something with a map of the stars overhead. I met with Dr. Zahi-Hawass, who offered me to assist him, and then one day he brought me under the Sphinx. But in this dimension, this density, you cannot see the technology. You see only the walls, the corridors, the rooms, but they're empty. If you shift your frequency, you see it, and you just can't touch it. And here I was. One day, after I had been shown what was under the Sphinx, that one day after work, I walked on my own on the plateau. My head was filled with data and information and excitement. Excitement is exhausting. So I walked in the desert to the pyramid. I walked and there was a series of rocks quite high that I could climb on them. From these rocks I could see the whole situation, the whole plateau with the pyramids, the sphinx, the temples, everything. And Cairo, as a murmur and a dark cloud far in the distance after the pyramids, down below in the valley. Noisy, busy valley. Civilization of modern men and women and children and animals, cars, pollution, struggles. They were all there in the valley, very far. I was on that rock that day, sat there, and I wasn't feeling. I stood in the same timeline. Past, present, and future were all one. When you walk in the desert, and this I could experience it so many times afterwards during my 8 years in Karnak, Saqqara, Dendera, all these places. I would venture in the desert and find myself, who I was. And this I was experiencing it for the first time in my life. Well, at least in this life. The silence is not always easy to face and to embrace. Your mind thinks and resists it. It is a great challenge to accept the silence and to let it in. My mind spoke for hours and I managed to calm it down until it had no more anything to say. At that moment, I opened the doors and let the silence in. The first thing I heard was the pulse of my heartbeat in my ears, like a shamanic drum, like a trance. I could feel my heart in all my veins. And I could hear my heart and my breathing. And all of this became so loud. It was the only thing I could hear. And then I let the silence enter my consciousness. The heartbeat drumming like the shaman's drum allowed my consciousness to reach a higher level, a trance, and the silence was total. I was the silence. My body was the rocks, the desert. I was free. I was free as I could believe I was. Because in that moment, when I attuned to the universe, to the desert and to the wind, I could feel, hear the consciousness of the desert. And very far in the distance, I sensed a presence. There was a tornado of sand that was coming to me, towards me. It was linked to my consciousness, it was communicating with me. And it brushed next to the rocks where I was standing. I wasn't afraid. I had the connection with the elements. And as the tornado of sand approached, I could hear it. And there was a voice and a presence of a male consciousness. I remember there was this voice in my head saying, "Here is the Lord of the desert's winds." The wind has entities of consciousness. The wind is alive, and sand gives it a shape. When it passed through, it was like a prince passing by. I felt blessed. And its violence, roughness, and power. I remained here for a while. The sun started to go down. And I thought, I am here, in this body, and my consciousness is attached to it. It will never leave until the last moment of my life on this earth. I think I am free. Am I really? Am I feeling like in a prison in this body of flesh, this flesh suit? You know, when you are communing with the desert doesn't lie to you. It is raw, it is simple, and it puts you into the simplicity of the knowing of who you are and what the universe is. If you just listen to your own frequency in the silence, you hear this humming. This is your own frequency. And with the power of the emotions, you can change the tone and make it sing. You can make a music, a melody from it. And when I thought I wasn't truly free, something happened. The desert answered me. I heard first a whisper in the wind behind me. And with the song of 100 wings sliding on the air, sliding on the sand winds, a huge swarm of swallows flew from behind and passing over me, dropped my consciousness back into my body. The desert, one with all its creatures, had answered me and shown me what consciousness can do. And that moment changed my life. And from that moment I knew that the quest had just started for me. In my everyday life, as Egypt taught me, I would face the triggering contrast, the discrepancy of the life of the valley and flying with swell. Now, on the wings of my consciousness, I am flying from galaxy to galaxy, embracing freedom.
Olá, meus amores! Antes de tudo, gratidão por você estar presente para mais um conteúdo. Eu estou passando aqui rapidinho para lembrar de curtir agora esse vídeo, se inscrever no canal, ativar o sininho para não perder nenhum vídeo incrível que trazemos aqui para você. Combinado? Agora, apertem os cintos, entre na nave estelar e bora pra aventura!